seasons. How many 40-point games did Michael Jordan have? 173.
Every time LeBron does something, if Jordan wanted to, he would have done it.
I didn't say
if
that.
he's what you said.
The greatest of all time discussion never really fades in basketball. It keeps resurfacing, especially when modern stars are measured against past legends. This time, the spotlight returned to ESPN's First Take, where Stephen A. Smith laid out a detailed argument that once again shifted attention back to Michael Jordan's legacy. His approach wasn't emotional or loud. It was grounded in numbers, timing, and historical perspective that demand attention. During the segment, the focus turned to 40-point games and how they relate to longevity. Stephen A. acknowledged LeBron James' greatness, but made it clear that greatness alone doesn't close the gap with Jordan. The discussion sparked a sharp back and forth with Shannon Sharpe, highlighting how LeBron's career, while remarkable, has often been measured by how close it comes to MJ rather than surpassing him. I end this breakdown. We examine each major point raised in that exchange and explain what it reveals about both players' legacies. Every section connects a quote to a larger historical takeaway, showing why this debate remains so intense. Before we continue, remember to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video so you don't miss future coverage on the GOAT conversation from every angle. Stephen A. began by highlighting a rare achievement that separates Jordan from everyone else. At 40 years old, Michael Jordan scored 40 points in an NBA game. That single performance stands as a benchmark no other legend has matched at that age. It wasn't just impressive for its time, it remains unmatched decades later. He then compared that moment to LeBron James' scoring history. LeBron has recorded 40-point games 78 times across a 22-season career, an accomplishment that reflects both durability and talent. However, the comparison shifts when Jordan's total is introduced. Michael Jordan reached the 40-point mark 173 times, despite playing 7 fewer seasons. This comparison goes beyond simple math. It speaks to efficiency, control, and dominance within a shorter window. Jordan didn't rely on extended years to build his resume. He delivered at an elite level quickly and repeatedly, making each season count with remarkable consistency. Stephen A. emphasized that when context is added, the argument becomes harder to ignore. LeBron's numbers grow steadily over time, but Jordan's achievements feel precise and decisive. That famous 40-point game at age 40 wasn't just another statistic. It served as a reminder that Jordan's impact didn't fade quietly. It sent a clear statement about lasting excellence.
Jordan was the first 40-year-old to drop 40. That's number one. LeBron James is in his 22nd season. That was the 78th time in his career he has scored over 40.
Stephen A. expanded on his argument by underscoring a detail that often gets brushed aside. Michael Jordan recorded an astonishing 173 games with 40 or more points, and he achieved that milestone while playing 7 fewer seasons than LeBron James. When you slow down and really absorb that fact, it becomes even more striking. Less time in the league, yet far more dominant scoring performances. This comparison is not simply about longevity or endurance. It speaks to the way Jordan approached the game every single night. He combined precision, power, and relentless scoring pressure in a way the league had never experienced before. From his earliest seasons, Jordan didn't grow into dominance over time. He arrived with it and maintained it year after year. Stephen A. also emphasized that Jordan accomplished all of this without bouncing between franchises or relying on constantly reshaped rosters. He carried the weight of expectations, led from the front, and delivered consistently. That steady presence, according to Stephen A., is what draws a clear line between all-time great players and those viewed as truly timeless. LeBron, on the other hand, has played in an era supported by advanced recovery methods, load management, and an offense-friendly style of play. These factors have helped extend careers and inflate scoring opportunities across the league. Yet even with those advantages, the production gap with Jordan remains unchanged in the end. Stephen A. framed this comparison as more than a numbers debate. It serves as a reality check for fans eager to place both players on equal footing. The difference, as he sees it, is not marginal or debatable. It reflects a separation built across seasons, styles, and generations.
How many 40-point games did Michael Jordan have? 173.
One of the strongest moments in Stephen A's commentary came when he delivered what many saw as a decisive blow in the debate. He pointed out that Michael Jordan never looked uneasy or unsure during the first 8 years of his career. There was no search for external help, no urgency to assemble star-heavy rosters, and no sudden relocation in hopes of unlocking success. That statement carries far more weight than appears on the surface. It indirectly challenges how LeBron approached the early phase of his career. While LeBron's talent was never in question, Stephen A suggested that the commanding presence and relentless edge Jordan displayed from day one simply weren't there in the same way that Jordan's rise was built through persistence, pressure, and internal resolve. He endured setbacks, learned from losses, and steadily sharpened his leadership within the same environment. His growth came through competition and accountability, not through coordinated moves or behind-the-scenes planning. This portion of the discussion wasn't meant as a personal attack, but as a contrast in mindset. Stephen A framed it as a difference in philosophy rather than destination. Jordan never searched for easier paths or public approval. His focus remained fixed on one objective: winning on his own terms, no matter how long it took.
Anything that Michael Jordan wanted to do, he didn't spend the first 8 years shivering. He didn't have to go to South Beach to learn how to.
When Shannon Sharpe entered the discussion, the entire energy of the debate shifted. His response was direct and emotional, clearly aimed at pushing back against Stephen A's narrative. Shannon questioned why. If Jordan truly possessed this unmatched dominance, he didn't display it in every single situation or deliver legendary performances at all times. To him, true greatness should show up consistently, without gaps or exceptions at face value. The challenge sounds fair and even logical. However, it overlooks the deeper point Stephen A was emphasizing. Michael Jordan never chased validation through constant stat padding or forced moments. He didn't feel the need to prove himself night after night in the regular season just to satisfy comparisons. Instead, he allowed his legacy to be defined by moments that mattered most. Jordan's reputation was built on defining performances that became part of basketball history. Championship runs, playoff takeovers, and unforgettable clutch moments formed the foundation of his case. Those performances didn't happen by accident. They arrived under the brightest lights, when pressure was highest and expectations were overwhelming. Stephen A's argument suggested that the selective dominance wasn't a weakness, it was a strength. Jordan knew when to assert himself and when to let the game come to him. His consistency wasn't about numbers appearing every night, but about reliability when the stakes were highest. Shannon's frustration, meanwhile, revealed an unspoken truth within the debate. Even the most loyal LeBron supporters feel the weight of Jordan's shadow. The need to constantly defend LeBron by questioning or diminishing Jordan's accomplishments shows how heavy that comparison has become. That pressure only exists because the standard was set so high in the first place. When history has already crowned a benchmark, every new grade is measured against it, and trying to rewrite a legacy that feels permanently etched into the sport is what makes this debate so intense, emotional, and never-ending.